Okay, look up. Okay, my apologies. I had to run to the office, so it's a little bit late. Be honest, if you are on time, and I'm okay if you're like a minute late today. If you're on time, you get 3. So if you weren't on time, then wave me by, so. A minute's okay. Thank you. All right. Extra because I saw you in the hall and I'm like, hi, and I want to say hi, Harrison. Good job, Rylan. Luke? Amelia? Robert? Hannah? All right. Isaac? That's okay. Not paying for homework today, so you're good. Soraya? Nate? Haley? Depends. It might take too long. Yeah, that one takes a while. I don't know that we'll ever have time to do it in class. There's a video posted on Canvas you can reference, or you can come talk to me before after school. We can talk about it. It just takes a few minutes. So, Haley, yes. Oh, thank you. Ruth. Ruth. Extra for the name. Extra for the name. Caitlin. Kate. Grace. Kate. Michael. Yeah. Good job, Julian. Okay, look up. Okay, a couple key things. Okay, the test, a week from yesterday is when it will occur. That's 6 calendar days from today. Key things. I have tried hard to emphasize that this class is different. They're not in order. It's bothering me. This class is different. Yeah, you have a teacher who can't stand things out of order. Look, it's not like classes you've had. We already joked with Anna that there's not going to be any coughing, sneezing, hand signals, anything, okay? Related to that, we also do no questions on test day. So none before school, nothing at lunch, none when you walk into class, nothing. Like no questions. Because what always happens is, okay, true story. One year, a student comes up to me just before class on the day of the test. He says, I just have one quick question. Like I'm good with everything else. I just have one quick question. I don't really know what derivative means. I'm like, I don't know what to say. Like, you're good with everything, but you don't know what derivative means? Half the questions are going to say the derivative. Like, I didn't say that to him. I just sat there, like, dumbfounded, like, dude, you're so clueless. Like, you don't even know what you don't know. Seriously, like, just, you're done. Like, anyways, no questions on test day, because I don't want you putting me in that awkward situation of, like, telling me you know everything, but you don't know anything. So. Since today is not test day, glad to help. So there's actually a long sequence of things you must remember. If you have a function that's some sort of, like any function, you can typically find the slope of that function at any point. The derivative of the function at any point is the same thing. So when I say go find the slope at any point, that's no different than saying go find the derivative at any point. If I say find the slope of f, that's no different than saying find the tangent slope of f. I don't have any today. Thank you, though. Yeah. Means the same thing as finding the derivative of f. So derivative, tangent, slope, instantaneous rate of change, f prime. Those are all different ways of talking about the derivative of f. Does that help? If not, come after school. So, okay, cool. So no questions on test day. Now I'm happy that things are in order. One exception to that would be I will probably answer questions for B day after school on test day because that's not their test day. So other differences. You walk in, the desk will be completely rearranged. I don't know of any other teacher who does this. The room will look totally different. There will be dividers on every table. You sit on the ends. The chairs will be moved. You just go to work because you can't ask anything, so you just start. When the bell rings at the end of the period, you must hand in your test. Okay? There have been some situations where I've been able to make an exception, but generally for this first test, no one's had any complaints about handing it in at the bell. No calculator, no notes, no talking. If you walk up to my desk and you say, I don't really know what this is saying, my answer will be, that's why it's a test. Let's point you back to your desk. So. Okay, on-time bonus. If you take the test on the day that it is scheduled, for you that is Thursday. If you have extenuating circumstances, you know you can't be here on Thursday. If you come and talk to me ahead of time and you reschedule your test date based on talking with me, then you're okay. You're still taking it on the day that it is scheduled for you. Do you understand that? Okay. If you take the test on the day that it is scheduled, here's how it is scored. If you get every single question correct, all 25, you get 100. For every question that you miss, your score drops by 3. There is no partial credit. The good news is, if you take the test on the day that it is scheduled, it won't really help your grade, but it might help your psyche. The lowest score you can possibly earn is 25. Katie's answer is very appropriate. I did have one time have to explain. Parent calls me very concerned about their son or daughter. They're like, my daughter, I know she didn't do very good on the test. I saw her score was 37 out of 100. I'm like, well, I have to explain something to you. 37 out of 100 means she got 4 right. Okay. He's like, oh, worse than I thought. Yeah. Okay. Hey, listen. If you you don't take the test as scheduled, the penalty you suffer is this. Instead of losing 3 points for every incorrect answer, you lose 4. Therefore, following Katie's logic, no comfort in this one. So, you miss them all, you get 0. So. Okay. Questions? Look up. Okay, I have for many years, 14 years, I have tracked every student's test score on test 1. And I've compared it to how they ultimately ended up performing on the AP test. And I observed a very interesting pattern that has been true for many years. If you can score, like you can miss 5 or fewer on the multiple choice tests that I give you, then you can be assured that you are studying correctly. You're doing it right. Like you're doing the kind of things you have to do all year long to succeed in May. What is most fascinating is, if you 82 is still pretty good, actually. I found that to be good. But if you drop one more, like literally, you miss 7 instead of 5, now your chances in May plummet from about an 85% chance of success in May to a chance of only about 60%, just still a little more than the national average. But it's such a distinct difference that I tell everyone always, I say, look, you score 79 or lower, you've got to retake. Like, you're just not studying correctly. Like, you're smart, has nothing to do with your intelligence, you're just not studying the right way. And I want to help you learn how to study correctly, more importantly, so you'll succeed in college. So college won't smack you in the face like it does so many people. Like, they get there and, like, I won't say who it was. Okay, no one doesn't feel bad. I know a person, okay, who, very intelligent, but he went to college and he just was not prepared for the fact that they're serious when they say, this is when the test will occur, okay? So he failed 2 semesters of college, okay, completely. He's doing okay now, like he's kind of got his life back together, but like but he just lost so much time for no reason. There was no reason for him to do that, okay? So I'm trying to help you learn what it takes to be successful in a very difficult college class. So anyway, that's how the test works. If you score about here or here, and you are always present, you're always with me, you're always part of the discussion, you're earning all these extra credit points and tickets that I'm always paying out, you'll get enough of them that this will be an A for sure. And this might even be an A, so kind of depends on how many tickets you have. So now that's assuming that you do all the other stuff, like your homework. It's very important that on the practice test, you get perfect scores on the quizzes. Those are counted as quizzes. You can do them as many times as you want. You want to get a perfect score if you want to get an A. This is not an online class. I don't teach it that way at all. I don't use Canvas to have you do a bunch of things. I don't have you get out your Chromebooks and you all work, in class, that sort of thing. We don't do that. Like, this class is about discussion. However, I do find Canvas very useful for collecting information. So that's why I'm using it for you to go in and grade your quiz and that sort of thing. So make sure you are checking Canvas regularly, just so you don't miss an announcement or like a little task I ask you to do, that sort of thing. So, questions about the test? Awesome. Okay, we are doing the same thing today as we did on Wednesday, and we're going to do the same thing on Tuesday. Please, Chris. So it'll tell you what's wrong, it just won't tell you the right answer. Yeah, I would drive me crazy if it's like, oh, it would feel like a game show. You got 20 out of 25 right. I'm not going to tell you which ones, but yeah. I'd have a panic attack, so. So if they do that then, yeah, to me that's not very efficient learning. Yeah, you like keep moving the wrong thing, so. Yeah. No, hey, one second, Isaac. Listen, look, it's like I will always tell you, I trust you to be smart, to say, no, the goal of the practice test is for me to learn. So I'm going to tell you which one is wrong, then I want you to dig in and come talk to me or whatever to find out why. Yeah. Isaac, sorry. So the rule on retake is this. As long as you are always here, you're always attentive, not on your cell phone, you're always like with me, you're getting your homework done. If the first score doesn't go well, then you have to arrange time to be here after school for retake prep. But as long as you can do that, and retake prep takes several days, then it's fine. Like 100. Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's my belief, Isaac. I wish, like, if I could design the school, like, shut up. Okay, hate that thing. I hate it. Look, I'm kind of high strung, so. Yeah. I joke sometimes with my wife. I say, I'm like the Golden Gate Bridge. If it wasn't for the tension, I'd fall apart. So, never mind. All right. Uh, it's a little, wound a little tight. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, shh, quiet. Here's silence. Here's my belief. Here's my belief. I wish we could do calculus more like they do it in college. Like, I spent more time in class at my BYU class than you guys get to spend with me. Like, there was more time in class. Like, it's a real challenge for me to try and figure out a way to teach you what I learned in college when I don't have as much time. It's hard. But anyway, so I firmly believe that if you show me on the second test that you understand it, why would I penalize you for that? Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah. Anybody else? But it is conditional upon you being attentive, you being with me. So awesome. Okay. We just want to get practicing problems again so you can keep experiencing what tests will feel like. But I do need to. It's not really a new idea. It's just kind of a review of something you should know. What you want to do to make sure this really sticks is you want to get a full sheet of paper. So if you use paper like Anna here, then you get a full sheet out. If you are like some who use a notebook, you don't need to tear it from the notebook. Just plan on using the full sheet. So like Paisley here, she doesn't have to rip it out. Just make sure it's on the full sheet. So. Anybody else? Okay. Okay, on this sheet of paper, you're going to draw. Now, I told you to get a full sheet because the larger the picture, the easier it will be for you to understand. So really use the whole page. You're going to draw a curve, something like this. Just a nice, big, sweeping curve. That is a sweet curve, so thank you. Isn't that nice? Makes you feel good. Just, fabulous is a good word. I got to remember that one. Good word. Yours is good. Ben's is nice. It's a good one. Let's pin him up on the board, Get out the magnets. All right. Look up. Silence. Okay, now do this. Just put a few points. So like we'll put a point here. We're going to jump to here. 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 Cool. All right, next thing, you might want to use the flashcard or a ticket as a ruler. It's a little hard to draw straight lines sometimes, but we want to draw a secant line, like so. Ah, that's the wrong button. So we want to draw a secant line like this. And then another one, I'll keep changing colors to make it easier to talk about. Like that. Not quite hitting it. Do that one again. Come on, board. There we go. And let's see, we're missing blue. Okay, so draw that. The idea is that if you make a nice big picture, the theory is that it will really stick in your memory. Okay, this idea. This idea that I'm describing gets tested on at least 3 test questions. Now keep in mind, on AP test questions, they don't test you on one concept. They test you on like 4 or 5. So, you'll hit a problem where this is one of the 5 things you've got to be remembering. So now, I'm just going to jump around the room, just calling you by name. If you don't know the answer to my question, there's nothing wrong with saying I don't know. Just go to the next person. So we'll start with Nate. Okay, this is a secant slope. So on the AP test, you wouldn't want to use that abbreviation, but it's okay for your notes. So I use it all the time. We don't know what that secant slope is because we have no numbers to measure it. But can you tell me, Nate, is it positive or negative? Good. Give me a number higher than 20. Perfect. The creativity is astounding. So cool. All right. 4 points for Nate. Put down 4. I figure I call on you. That's extra pressure. You should get more points. So now we'll just jump to somebody else over here. We'll go to Marielle. Did I say that right? Good. Marialle. Okay. Sutton. Marielle, give me your best, based on the fact that we're calling this a slope of 21, what would be a reasonable guesstimate for the red secant slope? I think 12 is great. Okay, 4 for Marielle. All right, we'll go to Dallin, sister of Camilla, who likes the Kelly Clarkson song. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Okay, at least I believe that's her. Haven't had a chance to check with her yet. No. Okay, it's okay. Okay, we'll make it different just to not avoid any confusion. It does look pretty symmetric. We'll say negative 11, just, is that okay? Okay, cool. 4 for Dallin. Let's go to Lily, named after my granddaughter, so I guess it'd be the other way around, but whatever. Oh, please. How many saw the mistake? 2 points. Well done. Kate gets 4 for having the courage to raise her hand. Okay, let's go to Lily again. So Lily, give me a number for the blue. Okay, questions? 4 for Lily. All right, here's the big idea. It's right on Danica's chart. If this black graph is showing F, then Danica's chart tells you that because this black graph has a concave down shape, all slopes of F, remember F prime is the function that tells you the slopes of F. All slopes of F must be decreasing. Now here's a big misunderstanding. Say it out loud as a chorus. Is that purple line, is that purple line increasing or decreasing? Say it. The purple line is definitely increasing. Like the purple line is going up. Okay, the purple line is going up. Okay, everybody with me? The purple line is going up. Okay? But what the table is telling you, Danica's chart, is telling you that if you have a concave down curve, then as you go from slope to slope, you will see that the values of slope decrease. Notice, 21, 12, negative 11, negative 20. The values of slope decrease. This is Spencer Boyer, one of my best students last year. Well done, Spencer. Do not mind the camera. We'll just continue, yes? Awesome. Let me know if you want me to do something different. Is everybody good? Wow, yeah, Taryn. Oh, I know, that's what I meant. Like, you're always in it, so yeah. Moving on. Focus. Come back. Everybody good? Okay. You can't forget that. Like, it's going to be tested. If the curve is concave down, if you go from secant slope to secant slope to secant slope, even though these lines are going up, the values of the slope are decreasing. Questions? Cool, next thing. Start calling on some other people here. If I put a tangent slope right here, So I do my best to draw what a tangent slope would look like right there. Okay? So we'll call in somebody else. We'll go to Spencer. So Spencer, that orange tangent slope. Oh, sorry, other Spencer. Right here. Olson, not Boyer, sorry. It is Boyer, yes? Excellent. Okay, Spencer Olson. Would you say that the orange tangent slope, is it positive or negative? Positive. Would you say that it is more positive or less positive than the purple secant slope? More positive. I'm hoping all of you can see clearly that if I were to extend the orange line, it becomes clear that the orange line is a more positive slope. Isaac. Careful. The tangent, listen close, come on. You know you're doing great. Listen, quiet. The tangent slope of F is a y-coordinate on F prime. So this tangent slope here, Spencer said it's more than 20, so we'll say it's 24. That would be a y-coordinate on F prime. Does that make sense? 2 points. 4 for Spencer. Anybody else? Cool. Watch. If I go to here, we find this tangent slope. We'll go to Hannah. Hannah, based on the picture, give me a number that would be a reasonable representation for that tangent slope. Good call. 4 for Hannah. Okay. Now, I drew a curve that has the shape it has. But the rule I'm trying to get you to memorize is that for any concave down curve, there's something true about these slopes that we're looking at. So, 18 makes sense. But in reality, based on the curvature, as long as this tangent slope is less than 21, you're welcome, and more than 12, then everything's good. That you have to memorize. Because the only way for the slopes to always be decreasing from slope to slope is if that tangent slope of 18 is between the purple secant slope of 21 and the red secant slope of 12. It has to be so. Questions? You must remember that, otherwise you won't be able to answer 3 questions. So. Cool. Okay, so let's practice AP test now. Go to number 19. Go. Again, I'll walk the room. If you have a clarifying thing to ask, I can stop and talk with you. If you want me to explain the problem, that ain't going to work. So. The goal here is to get you to feel like what the test will feel like. So you can say, hey, am I studying correctly? Am I really preparing to answer unknown questions? If you are, great. If you are not, you need to be in here after school right away. Because honestly, back to Isaac's question about the retake, what I have found is that students who really do diligently prepare for the first test, and then things don't go quite well, they do pretty well in retake prep. Like it turns out just fine. Those who don't really prepare for the first test, retake prep doesn't help. Like they dug too big of a hole. Calculus is one of the few high school classes one of the few college classes, well, high school more so, that if you get too far behind, you cannot catch up. It's not even a question of effort. You're done. Don't fall behind. Oh, one hint too. The more you write, the better chance you have of solving a problem. The less you write, the more chance of an error, the more chance you get stuck. So I don't always give you room on the packet just to save paper, but I would always have a piece of scratch paper. Actually, I have a piece of lined paper next to me that I can do my work on and then put it in my notes, because I don't want to try and solve any problem by just staring at it. The more you do in your head, the more mistakes you make. All right, let's see how we're doing. Okay, as we did on Wednesday, show me your vote. Remember, 5 is I don't know. There is no shame in not knowing. There is immense shame in What's that? Not knowing. Yeah, FIS is, my bad, sorry. FIS means not knowing. E is 5, my bad. FIS is not knowing. E is 5. Back to the speech. There's no shame in not knowing. There's immense shame in being dishonest. But just be honest if you don't know. Checking. Okay, remember your vote. If your vote is correct, you get more points if you have it right without the hint. So here's what I would have done. They say G is twice differentiable. All that tells me is there is a valid G prime function. There's also a valid G double prime function. So I don't stress, just keep reading. Raise your hand. What is that clue supposed to be telling you? Hands up. Come on. What's that clue supposed to be telling you? Don't take points if you don't raise your hand. Go rude. Don't swear in my class. It makes me uncomfortable. Perfect. And then what is that supposed to be telling you, Ruth? Nicely done. How many knew? 0.2 for Ruth. Okay. 3 because she was a good sport on the whole swearing thing. Good job. Then this clue, hands up. What's this clue telling you? Hands up. Quick. What's that clue telling you? Let's go right here, Katie. So G double prime is positive. And what is that telling you? So G is concave up, which means the slopes of G have to increase, slope by slope. Okay, how many knew? 0.2 for Katie. I don't draw graphs usually, but points are helpful. So I would say, okay, wait a minute, got a point here at 4, 12. A point here at 5, 18. I don't know. And then maybe a point here at 6, 15. That would be like here-ish. So raise your hand, good or bad, hands up. And why? Go, Riley. Yeah, all kinds of bad things, right? We're showing G being concave down, G being decreasing. None of that's going to work. How many knew? 0.2 for Riley. Anybody else? Cool. So then we go to, so maybe it's here. Maybe it's 6, 18. That appears to have the same kind of problem. Cancel that one. 6, 21. What's that? No, somebody else. So that also doesn't seem to be looking very good. Show me your vote now. Like this so everyone can see. Like this. Okay, so some people are still not sure. Raise your hand, please, if you have any question that the first three cannot be right. If you don't see it, I want to keep talking. Oh, they told us that G prime is always positive, which means the graph of G, which is what these points are describing, has to always go up. Does that make sense? So these two can't work because that would be up and then back down, or it would be like up and then flat. You comfortable? 21 doesn't work for this reason. Look. Raise your hand, everyone. Raise your hand. What's the red secant slope? Come on, quick. Hands, come on. What's the red secant slope? Everybody, you can do it. This is like the test. You've got to be able to calculate it. What's the red secant slope? A blank look. Secant slope is just find how much y changes, divide by how much x changes. So what's the red secant slope? Let's go, Chris. So the y is changing by 6. The x is changing by 1. How many knew? Point. 2 for Chris. What is the blue secant slope? Hands up. What is the blue secant slope? Let's go, Kate Spencer. Who else knew? Point. 2 for Kate. So, look, the curve of G would do something like this, because it's a curve. Well, we assume it's a curve. Something like that. Concave down. That's G being concave down. Or sorry, I got it wrong, right? Greater than 0. Oh, that's the problem. We're supposed to have a curve that's concave up. Yeah, it's not concave up. Because the slopes are not increasing. The slope is going from 6 to a secant slope of 3. That's why this one is wrong. So, questions? Show me your vote. I hope these hints are helping anybody. So there's still a good number of you that have it wrong. Hands down. Does anyone want to talk more why this is? Does we need more help here? Cool. So let's do this now. Let's draw another one. So if we had a point at 4, 12, and then a point at 5, 18, and then a point at 6, 24. We already know that this secant slope here is 6. Points for the whole room. Why do I write 6 over 1 instead of 6? Hands up. There we go. Luke. Nicely done. Yeah, it really is important to remember, slope is never really one number. Slope is always a comparison. How many knew? Point. 2 for Luke. Hands up. What is this blue secant slope here? Hands up. What is that blue secant slope right there? These are some fine drawings. That's all I can say. Haley. Haley says 6 over 1 is what she really meant to say. How many knew? Point. 2 for Haley. Hands up. If you have a curve where there's a secant slope of 6 and then the next secant slope of 6, hands up. Is that curve concave up, concave down, or we don't have a clue? Hands up. Let's go, Grace. Yeah, It's really the wrong thing to say, to be fair. Like, it's not concave up. It's not concave down. It could be both. It could be doing this. It could go like so. That's a good drawing. Thank you. It could be linear, but it ain't in no freaking way concave up. Okay? True? Is that okay to say that? Thank you. Everybody understand? So what's the answer? Hands, show me. Anybody? Yeah. Chris is like, come on, people. Fine. This is the answer. If you knew the answer before all the hints, you get this many points. Okay? If it took all the hints for you to get the answer, you get this many points. So, okay. After the first one, you can take this many. I feel like a child. How old are you? Yeah, please, Riley. Oh, awesome. Hey, look up. I'll pay a ticket for that. You really don't have to write it that way. I will do it often just to keep emphasizing so you don't ever forget we are talking about a comparison. A slope is always a comparison between two changes. Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, it's just me wanting to emphasize. Because I do think like what I go with, Riley, is I've had years where like students will ask a question and I'll say, oh, remember what a slope is? And they go, oh yeah, now I know what to do. So, yeah. Anybody else? Sweet. Here we go. Let's have another AP experience. It's like a ride at Disneyland. No one would go on it, but you know. Bad joke, huh? Go, 22, go. The AP experience. Yet another problem that you have never seen before, just like the test that you will take here in 6 days. Packet full of problems you've never seen, so go. And you can always stop me if you have something that you'd like to clarify. I just don't want to stop and explain. That takes way too long. So. And what you're always paying attention to is not can you do this problem, but are you understanding the rules that you use to solve the problem so that you can use those rules on totally different problems. That's the whole idea. Let's see where we're at. Show me your votes. Show me. Come on, show me something. Even if it's just a fist. Show me something. All right, it's close, close. Keep working then. Keep working. So a couple of hints here. Remember your first vote. First vote's worth the most. Okay, it says first position, F has a positive first derivative. So F is increasing. F has a negative second derivative. So that means F is concave down. So I look at my tables of F, and I very quickly know that the answer is either A or B. That's all based on this clue right here. That clue is telling me the answer must be either A or B. You want to talk more about that. Please. Just be careful. You always do this, everyone. 2 for Luke. The word first derivative has 0 meaning until you say first derivative of something. So the first derivative of f is f prime. Hands up, answer this. What is the, come on, hands. What is the first derivative of f prime? Hands. What is the first derivative of f prime, Michael? F double prime. Does that make sense? Hands up. What's the second derivative of f? Hands up. Okay. F double prime. Question. Does that make sense? Good work. Okay. Now I got to figure out which one is which. So I'm like, oh, concave down. That means my slopes have to decrease. So I'm going to go find slopes. Warning. Now, it's interesting. I gave this warning last period. Promptly. 2 problems later, the warning was completely forgotten. So sad. And several people proceeded to not heed the warning and messed up. So heed the warning. It goes back to Riley's question, why I like 2 numbers. Slope is a comparison. So to find the secant slope between these points, I'm comparing the change in y to the change in x. And I find that the secant slope will be 2 over 1. The next secant slope would be 3 over 1. Let's look over here, and we go, that's wrong. This can't be A. Let's see, 4 over 1, 3 over 1, we're good. Okay, so if you knew that the answer was B, before I give any hints, you get this many points. If you knew it once we gave the hints, you get this many points. So, question. Next one. The AP experience continues. Go, 25. Okay, let's see where we're at. Show me your vote. Okay, hands down. Okay, it says the function f has a second derivative that is negative. I go right here. Doesn't really give you any other clues. Then it says what is true about, okay, watch close as I say this. Watch close as I say it. I hope you're noticing that every time I show a tangent slope, I make a little line like that. That helps me remember something crucial. When I see this symbol, here's what I see. I see the graph of f. I see that graph at an x-coordinate of 1.2. But then I remember that this means tangent slope. So that means this symbol is telling me the tangent slope of f at x equal 1.2. So I'm over here thinking, okay, what do I know about the tangent slope of f at x equal 1.2? Very good. Okay, but the next thing I remember is f. Okay, this is how the test will be. Like you read a problem, you don't know what to do. I don't either. I just know that I can keep searching and I'll find it. So I'm like, okay, I know this. What else do I know? Oh, this clue here should remind me of something. F is concave down. That means I would think to do this. So I'll go, okay, F is concave down somehow. This is how questions always go when you don't know how to do them. And you're like, okay, let's see. At x equal 1.2 on f. This is why I say don't do it in your head. Do it on paper. The tangent slope. Like, what do I know about this slope? And honestly, at this moment, I don't know anything. Virus detected. I don't know anything. But then I remember, wait a minute, I can find this secant slope here. I can find this secant slope here. That will give me a clue. So I'll walk the room for another minute here, in case some of that helps anybody. If the clues aren't helping, you haven't successfully changed your mindset from a class where all you do is memorize to a class where you have to reason and understand. And that means you just have to come after school and talk and talk and talk until you can get your mind to shift. One more lap and then we'll talk again. So, gotta go this way, I'm getting dizzy. Show me your vote. Show me your votes. The hint was definitely helpful. So here's all the details. Here's the point. First point, second point, third point in that table. I'm looking for the tangent slope right here, because that's what f prime of 1.2 represents. The tangent slope right there. I find the secant slope, this first secant slope from here to here, to equal, let's see, the y value is changing by 0.2. The x value is changing by 0.1. Therefore, that first secant slope is 2. Second secant slope is 1.8. That tangent, as we discussed earlier today, has to be in the middle. That's where the correct answer is D. Okay? If you had this without any hints, you get this. Okay? If you had this, before I told you, but you needed some hints, you get this many. So, question? If you find yourself feeling like you don't understand, but you don't even know what to ask, the solution is after school. It's like you just have to sit and be comfortable and just talk until it starts to feel better. So I should rename my after school math therapy, not homework help, because that's what it is. Like you just sit and talk. So questions? Cool. Next one. Oh yeah, please. No worries, Taryn. Secant slope is always, you're fine. Secant slope, in fact, think of it this way. Slope is always change in output divided by change in input. All slope. The only difference is secant is for points we can clearly see. So secant slope means change in y, change in the output. That's 0.2 divided by the change in the input. That makes sense. That's okay. Anybody else? Okay, go to this one, please. 31, go. At x equals 3. All right, let's see where you're at. So show me if you have a vote yet. If you don't know, you just put fist. Okay, hands down. Raise your hand if you successfully understood that the graph of f must be concave down if they're telling you the second derivative is negative. How many knew that? Point. Raise your hand if you were able to successfully compare secant slopes and narrow your choices to either A, B, or C. Who was able to do that? Point. Who would want to talk about that? So what I did is basically I said, so are you okay to hear? Okay, so concave down means if I go find slopes on F, remember F prime represents slopes on F, the slopes I find on F have to decrease. That doesn't mean that I see tangent lines that are decreasing, it means I see slopes that are decreasing. So it's exactly the same idea here. Not that one. Hold on a second, I want to copy this over. That one. Okay, so, come on. All right, so what I'm looking for, paste this in. I've got to have that kind of a pattern where my secant slopes are decreasing. So something like this, my secant slopes have to decrease, like this. Does that make sense? So back to here, I start checking secant slopes. From this x to this x, the x value changes by 1. The y value changes by 2.5. So the secant slope would be 2.5 between those 2 points. That would be very much like saying right here, the secant slope right here would have been 2.5. So then, check the next one. I get a secant slope of 1.5 over 1. Good with that? That's fine. That matches concave down because I've got slope of 2.5 and then a slope of 1.5. So same idea. If I do the same check here, I run into suitable 2.5 over 1, 2 over 1, that's okay. Same check here, I get 2 over 1, I get 1.5 over 1. Is everybody comfortable with that? So that's why I know those all work. If I go check this one, that's a problem. That's not going to work. That's not secant slope. Ah, thank you. Come on, bigger problem than I thought. 2 over 1. Does that make sense? Okay, this one, similar. Good to there. So that's how I was able to get to eliminating D and E. Other questions? Okay. Again, look at me. Everybody look at me. All eyes up. All eyes up. Okay, remember, what I'm trying to get you to do in this class is not do what I do. It's get you to think how I think. Okay? So I'm doing an unknown problem. I found one clue right here. I used that clue to progress. I did. I've got only 3 possible answers now. But I don't have the answer, so I look for more clues. The other clue I see is this one. Now remember, that means the tangent slope on the graph of f at an x-coordinate of 3 has to equal 2. And then I remember, if this secant slope is 2.5 and this secant slope is 2, there's no way to have a tangent slope of 2 in between those if the curve is truly concave down. Like, it's not possible. You can't draw it. It's like saying, like, here's the actual, I don't know, maybe I drew it. No, I didn't. So the correct answer is A. That works. This is just fine. That works perfectly to have a tangent slope of 2 in between. Okay? So if you knew it without any hints, correct answer is A. If you knew it without any hints, you're going to give yourself 5. If you knew it with hints, you get 1. So, questions? Cool. Go to number. Go to number 13. Did we do 13 already? My bad. Awesome. Good work. The text I sent out said don't do 13, but that's okay. No hurry. No worries, I should say. Hey, a little short on time. Look, got to demonstrate some things. These are not new ideas, but as we approach the test, you're trying to keep track of a lot of things, and sometimes you're trying to keep track of ideas you learned in previous classes that can be hard to remember. So let's talk. This is the function f. The first one says the domain of the derivative of f. That means the domain of f prime is the open interval a to b. I've had a whole bunch of people tell me they don't remember what domain means. They don't remember what open interval means. So let's talk about that. Let's make a picture. Okay, remember, the y values of f prime are the tangent slopes of f. So I can make a table like this. I can come over here and say, the function starts at x equal a. But whenever you go to find a tangent slope, you have to do this. You have to, like if I'm trying to find a tangent slope at point A, I must create a secant slope to the left, and I must create a secant slope to the right, like that. I then shorten the secant slopes until they are so short their secant slope values become virtually identical. Like I can't quite show that here, but that's the general idea. Question. So here's something you must memorize. If I'm on this graph right here, and I'm trying to find the slope of f at A, so I'm at this point, I can't do that process I just showed you because I cannot go to the left and create a secant slope because there's no point over there to which I can make a secant slope. Therefore, it is not possible to find the tangent slope of f at x equal a, ever, when it's the very end point. Questions? You must remember that. It's going to be tested again. So what I remember is this, Isaac. I would literally remember this little demonstration. And I just think, okay, every time I need to find a tangent, it's like secant right, secant left. Shorten the secants until I can find the slope. But if I'm at the last point, that blue one, there is no red point. So there's no way to go left. So no way to find the secant slope on the endpoint. Anybody else? Cool. However, I can find the secant slope at the very next point. So the very next point would be a plus a tiny amount. Now, a plus a tiny amount can be represented with this symbol. A plus a tiny amount. So just a little more than a, I can find the tangent slope. That tangent slope is not shown here, but I'm just going to pretend I know. I'm going to pretend that I know that it is 3. Okay? So the tangent slope is 3. Questions? All right, I'm going to call on a few people here. If I call on you and you don't know, you just say I don't know. If you answer correctly, you get rewarded. Let's say this is x equal -1. This is x equal -2. So if I come to this table and I put a -2 right here, we'll go to Soraya. What would you put there, Soraya? 2 points. Let's go to Harrison. What would you put? 3. Because that line is linear, the slope at x equal -2 would be exactly the same as the slope anywhere else. Okay. No worries. Pretty good. 4 for Harrison. Figure I'd get more points if you have to survive the pressure. So let's go to John. If I put x equal -1 right here, what would you have me write here? 4 points. Questions? Okay, let's go to x equals 0. We'll go to Maddie on the front. What would you put, Maddie? Questions? Okay, let's review a couple of things. Domain of f prime means the following. It means look at all the x coordinates of f prime and figure out if there are valid y coordinates. For every x that has a valid y, that x is in the domain of f prime. So for example, we'll call on Queston. Ignore this question. We're just trying to learn an idea. Based on this table, would you say that x equal a is in the domain of f prime? So would you, oh, the bell's going to ring, stupid bell. Yeah, we'll have to, there's a video of this online if you need help with it. Otherwise you can come after school, but we're good. No, thanks. Come up here, Riley. So when I get to C, think of that idea again. If I'm trying to find the tangent slope here, I want to imagine that I can go, sorry to reach across you there. I want to go secant slope here. I want to go secant slope to the right. And then I want to move the dots so the secants shorten. Will they ever become virtually the same slope? So no matter how much I move that blue dot that way, the secant slope on the right is going to be something negative. No matter how much I move the red dot on the left, the secant slope will get shorter and shorter, but it will always be positive. So they'll never be the same. Right? So anytime you have a corner, we learned that the other day, if a function has a corner, then the slope can't be found at the corner. Does that make sense? Yeah, the first one's false because I can keep finding slopes. I can go here to like +2. I'm now looking kind of like here. That's going to be like -3 slope. I can go all the way to just a little less than b. If I go to b, I can't. But again, domain means find all the x coordinates that have valid y coordinates. And if I start right here, which is where it says I'm supposed to start, my domain, everything looks great except for one x coordinate. Yep, that's where that one's false. Good job. Well done.